my name's John Wadsworth. I'm an astrologer. I live in Glastonbury in Somerset in the UK. I've been practicing professionally as an astrologist for about 20 years and running a school teaching astrology since 2009. And I used to post a lot of video blogs. You might have seen me before up here, but I thought I'd start again. I haven't done it for a while, so here goes. I thought I'd begin with this extraordinary solar eclipse coming up on the 8th and 9th of March. And wow, just looking at the chart here, Sun, Moon, it's a new moon, obviously, it's a solar eclipse. So the Sun and Moon are conjunct in Pisces, in an almost exact conjunction to Chiron, the wounded healer. In opposition, that Sun-Moon-Chiron conjunction is opposite Jupiter and the North Node in Virgo, and all of that squares Saturn in Sagittarius. So it's what we call a T-square in the mutable signs, on the mutable cross. And the Sun and Moon are conjunct the South Node as well. This might feel very karmic. There's something really deep. There's a lot of feeling going on. There's a big need to let go, a big need to relinquish, to let go of attachment, to outcome, to expectation of what might happen. This is not a time for necessarily for forging ahead with great plans. It may be, although this is a seed energy, because new moons always carry a seed quality to them, it's a seed which requires us first to tune in deeply to our own spiritual source. This is Pisces is the least materialistic sign of the zodiac. It's the one that is most distant, if you like, from the stuff of the world. So our attachments to the stuff of the world really, they struggle under Pisces energy, because Pisces is about how we let things flow back into the great ocean. And there's a longing here. Moon in Pisces has this ancient longing, especially with the South Node there. There's this feeling of a longing, of an ancient wound, and a call back to a deep knowing within us that things must unfold, that things must unfold in a way which requires things to move. There's a fluidity required here, a flowing back to the source. If we're trying to control things, people, situations too much around this time, we'll suffer. That's the source of the famous Piscean suffering is attachment, the need to control, the need to hold on. This is about letting go. So the seed of the possibility that's contained within this solar eclipse is really a seed connected to our deepest relationship to God, to the divine, to that which is other than human, however we see that. And the longing is intensified by the opposition to Jupiter. But coming with that, Jupiter's is in a phase of its own journey where it's not entirely comfortable in Virgo, where anxiety and worry tend to be exaggerated in that position of Jupiter. So while Jupiter being involved in this tends to, expand that need to dream into a new possibility, with that comes a certain amount of anxiety and worry that we're not in control of how that's going to unfold. So there's that tension between trusting in the bigger picture, trusting in what's to come, trusting in what's available, what's out there for us, and not knowing how that's going to come about. And that then is kind of crystallized in this square from both Jupiter and the Sun and Moon to Saturn in Sagittarius. Now Saturn's spending its 2.5 years in Sagittarius, checking our big strides. The Sagittarian part of us wants to make those big leaps, that leap of faith, that leap of imagination. And Sagittarians typically have a kind of trust in the future, which is what takes them on the journey. But when Saturn's there, there's a doubt element that comes in. There's needing to, or there's perhaps a fear of just stepping out, and we're in that kind of confident Sagittarian, fiery Sagittarian way. So there's doubt here as well. Jupiter and Saturn are square to each other at the moment, and that it kind of creates a sort of stop go, with all that Jupiter energy that wants to go forward, Saturn energy wants to check it and make sure it's real. There's this reality check keep coming in. So there's a reality check here at the same time as there's needing to let go and relinquish. Mercury's in poetically placed in Pisces. Mystical ideas, communications are more of a blur when Mercury's in Pisces. Things are not so clear. Moving into conjunction there, applying conjunction to Neptune in Pisces as well. 5 planets in Pisces. That's really a lot of water. We might feel inundated, almost overwhelmed with emotion, with feeling unaccountably in a kind of emotional flow. Tears may flow during this period of time. In a way, we have to let that happen, because those tears are allowing they're trying to lubricate the soul somehow, to allow movement, to allow things to move and flow as they need to. We're entering an eclipse season here. It's worth mentioning that the solar eclipse is followed 2 weeks later by a lunar eclipse. Now, the lunar eclipse carries more cardinal energy with it. There's more impetus and oomph in the lunar eclipse, which happens with the Sun in Aries and the Moon in Libra. But this solar eclipse chart is predominantly mutable, which is about letting go of anything which has become too fixed or attached or established. And the energy in astrology which symbolizes the need to establish things and to create more fixed structures are the fixed signs. And now there's a lack of fixed energy in both the solar eclipse chart and a complete lack of it in the lunar eclipse chart. So that's interesting. So this eclipse season is characterized by change. And the solar eclipse begins that process with this sort of relinquishing energy, this letting go, this deep trusting that things have to move now, that whatever we are in our lives, in our personal lives, in our work, in our communities, we have to somehow find deeper trust, even if it looks as if things are falling apart, even if it looks as if we can't kind of control things. We have to somehow trust that there's a deeper intelligence, there's a divine intelligence somewhere guiding this. There's a guiding hand somewhere behind all this. And if we can, the more we can do that during the solar eclipse, during those 2 weeks between the solar and lunar eclipse, on the 23rd of March, when the lunar eclipse comes in, it feels as if we might realize a direction forward with that kind of cardinal Aries energy coming in at the equinox, that we might actually find some impetus. We're in a process of trust, and there's a seed of that, because the new moon carries a seed energy. The seed energy is a seed of letting go, of relinquishing. It sounds like a complete paradox, and it is in some ways. But that's really where we have to go in order to access the seed of what is to come and to unfold over the next 6 months. This energy carries an impulse which echoes through the next 6 months of the year. That a lot of this is about just having to really trust into our deeper faith, even if the circumstances don't support that, because they may well not. We might look at our lives and our situations and the world around us and go, how can we trust anything here? There's with Saturn there bringing the doubt. How can we trust the vision? How can we trust the future? However we do it, somehow we need to find a way of transcending the outer circumstances that might not seem to support it. And in that, there's a blessing. I'm certain there's a blessing in that. There is a deep blessing here. And it opens up a healing journey. It feels very shamanic, it feels very ancient, and it feels very karmic. South Node brings in the karmic feel. Chiron brings in that woundedness, that shamanic wound that we all carry within us. So it sounds complex, and it is quite complex, but there's a lot of hope here. I think the more we can just trust that there is a divine hand at work here, and that if we can really connect with that, then there's blessing.